No, I'm already set up. It's just a matter of um, getting it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we're good now. And I'm recording. That's all right. What was that?
No, I'm recording. I'm recording now, so we're good.
Okay. So I'm assuming you're using your lavalier because the microphone is hanging somewhere on your wall.
Yeah, you see the little shadow back there?
I don't see the shadow. I see the
I've got.
microphone.
Oh, you see the microphone there. That's right. But the video here doesn't see it. It sees a little
Oh,
shadow.
okay. Oh, I see.
Okay.
Did you get new lights?
I did. If you watch that other video, which doesn't look like you did,
I did not know.
I have this box behind me here are actual video lights, video photography lights. I mean, they're
Oh,
not
good.
super big. They're maybe, I don't really know, to be honest, with the size of them. I can look at them. These here, besides blinding me because I'm so stupid, I look at them every time I talk about them.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that.
Um, yeah, yeah. These are small little work lights. I'm doing that because I know I would look at it.
Okay.
uh, but they're LED work lights, 1,000 lumens each,
Wow.
and as you can see, there's a ton of shadow.
Yeah.
So I don't have my lighting game quite on point. This up here is a one of those things we had talked about, the little dish where you screw the bulb in the middle, like what you have behind you.
Okay.
Not professional. It's not professional. Not a professional something or other. It's probably
Sure.
smaller than what you have
Like
there.
a shop light.
Yeah, effectively. It's got a clamp on one side, and it's just
Yeah.
clamped to the TV mount up top there. So that's just to give me
Okay.
some hair light. I was actually
Sure.
hoping it would get rid of the. I'm talking too loud according to the settings here, but I can't change them while I'm recording, so I won't talk as loud. You probably will appreciate too that thing yelling at you.
You know, as long as you fix
Um,
it when you send me the video.
you don't want to hear the hum or the hiss or whatever you get. So I was hoping that this light up here would take away a lot of the shadows behind me, but maybe if I add in these other lights, there's two lights in that box. Well, the box came retaped, so that means somewhere in the shipping process it came undone. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's two lights in there. We'll find out
When did you get them?
today.
Oh, they just came in today.
Yeah, when I walked in, I pulled the box in with me.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That's one of the benefits of being where I am. The stuff kind of always stays here. I think I mentioned before I might be losing the space to storage, but for now it's just a mess of cables and lights and video and audio equipment. Ridiculously huge monitor over here. And it's a shop light. That's cool. I like the fact that it's LED. I have one of those at home that's 1,000 lumens. It's actually two 500 lumens that are sit next to each other, but it's one of those. I guess it's halogen, so it's ridiculously bright and about
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know 6 bajillion degrees.
I was gonna say they get a little toasty.
They do, yeah. It's even hard to turn them off because the can on the back, you're gonna hit the power button. It's radiating so much heat behind there. It's like, oof, this is dangerous.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
yeah. I put an LED bulb in that thing up there, 100 watt LED bulb. Well, the equivalent 100 watt.
Yeah,
So just to try to give more light, because it's going to have to battle against these two here for today. And again, I just literally before I put the phone on the whatever that thing's called, mount, I suppose.
yeah.
Just plugged it in back there. So this is kind of a ramshod, not really workshopped. Obviously, I'm going to have to work on it because I'm looking at my video here and just shadows all over the place. So, all over the place, including here. So,
Yeah. Well, they're not too bad on you
yeah.
until you do this. But I mean, I'll get some shadows too, but I only have a 2 light situation going on. I'm probably 3 or 4 feet from the background behind me. And, let me do something real quick. Okay. I realized when I was looking at you, it's so far away from the camera. I would raise the camera up because it helps with my double chin. And
Yeah, because now you
so,
basically just have your chin on the bottom of the screen. My screen. I don't know what your camera looks like, but
I
I
can
basically
fix that. That's right.
that's all right. I have an idea of what you look like. We're okay.
Yeah, it's very similar from what I understand. So anyway, so I There's probably a little shadow at the bottom of me. What are you going to do? But I'd raised the camera up on the tripod. I totally forgot to raise the phone. As we mentioned before, we're using a FaceTime connection to see each other. So now I was looking down here where the phone was instead of up there. So maybe most people don't care about that. It kind of annoys me when I watch podcasts and someone's looking off to the side and not at least somewhere near the camera lens. So anyways, I apologize. Back to you.
Yeah.
For you, I'd say simple solutions, but I don't know how much square footage you have to deal with. By being further from the wall, obviously that's going to help alleviate some shadows. I have shadows behind me. You can kind of see them, but that's as hideous as the tie-dye is. It at least masks some of the shadows. The shadows almost look like they're on purpose, like they're part of it. So that's why I leave it, because, it's terrible for pictures, but we use it here, but that's all we had, plus the green screen that's hanging behind it. So you could do that too, put a green screen behind you, and you just, we can make it look like we're sitting next to each other on a conference table.
Right, no kidding. Yeah, instead of just the blue walls. I did change my white balance away from auto. I use my t-shirt as the white, and it seems to help. I don't know what initially you're seeing. The iPhone picked it up a little bit lighter, but the camera here, I'm pointing all over the place because I'm seeing it here. The camera's up here. It looks like it's the right blue when I'm looking at the screen. So,
What blue?
whatever
Your shirt
colors
or the
are going
wall?
on,
Or?
the boards back here. Because these are just two behind me to take away from the illusion of what it is. They are just two insulating boards. When you build a house and they 4x8 insulating boards, normally you see the words Tyvek or whatever. All the text is on the back. This is the other side. And then just some of those audio sound, I can't remember what they're called.
Like diffusion panels or whatever.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
I have more in the closet, but there's a closet behind these boards. And I've got, you can't see it on the, you see the little thing down there?
The hinge.
So I have them screwed together. And by the way, screwing into these little styrofoam things and making those screws stay, not...
you need to kind of sandwich them. Have a hinge.
Yeah. Well, what I didn't buy washers on the backside. So it's just a nut. And so you just tighter. Small. They just squeeze. So I need to put a nice big washer back there so that it gives something to grab onto.
Yeah.
But I don't mess with them that much, so they're fine where they are. But I do have to obviously move it in order to get to the closet. That's my closet where I have my clothes back there. So
that's your new door.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens to me. I don't know if I'm going to try to have time set aside the next 2 weeks. I'm going to bring camera, obviously, bring in the microphone, bring in the light, because they're small. They're just going to sit in the bottom of the bag. But, it sounds like we're booked up every day, all day. It's like, and I'm not a fan of vacations like that, but to get in all the stuff that myself, Ruth, and the kids want to do, it's kind of one of those deals. So, we'll deal with it. And, it's only going to be 2 weeks. So I don't think our huge, customer / audience base is going to start throwing stones yet. So we're probably okay.
They're going to be really upset that 5th and 6th aren't showing up in time.
Yeah,
I assume that's when it'll be. I don't know if you want to talk about the time frame, but we probably should talk about this off air when you're going to be gone. One of the rules of not letting people know where you are when you're not around. But
well, they probably won't see this until in the future anyway, so it might not be a big deal.
Yeah, right. He'll be back by then.
So it'll be fall. It'll be fall. Yeah. It'll look beautiful, hopefully. It'll be pretty.
Yeah. Well, that'll give me 2 weeks, hopefully, to spend a little time, maybe tightening up this space here. Because what I would prefer is when I get home, the camera I can't, because literally right there is our bed. This is our bedroom. And I have a little office space that I've taken away from the bedroom. Fortunately, it is large enough that I could do that, but the bed is right there. So the camera is basically in between where this little table here is and the end of the bed. Footboard, I believe they would call it. And so that can't stay there. So that's the downside to this current setup. I have thought about moving the camera back here and maybe putting one of those boards that are behind me back here to just kind of reverse it. For one, possibly give me further distance from the camera. I'd rather use the 50mm lens, as well as I can have these walls the same or maybe a little bit further behind me. Yeah. I'm hearing myself back there in the background. Am I getting it from your earpiece or something?
Say something.
Hello? Hello?
I don't know. That's a good question. It might be coming through here and just going down. These are $10 or maybe $15. So just the quality, just a hair, smidge less than yours. So it's highly possible that they're just coming back down. Probably not even good shielding done. That's what the black is for. It's gaffer's tape, because although it doesn't completely block out the light, the LED that's really bright, it, muffles it a little bit. The white is not really, it's not like a solid white. You can actually see the light above and below it. So that's great. But the main thing I bought them for was, for music itself. And I like the way they're shaped. I like the way the Apple ear pods, I guess they're called, are shaped. So all of my other 40 pairs of in-ear headphones are just sitting there, batteries slowly dying. My kids don't like them. They're uncomfortable for my kids' ears as well. So they have on-ear headphones, and then I have 2 pairs of over-ear headphones that I really love, but don't get a chance to use them that often. So this is the main game in town.
So at that price, do they have good sound quality when you're listening to music?
Yeah, I don't have the best hearing, so from what I can tell, they sound fine. I've never tried to put them, at the highest volume, and I haven't really done ridiculous tests. Now that I'm getting a little older, spoken word is not as horrible as it once was. So I listen to a lot of podcasts and other things. So, that makes it okay. When I flip over to music, then it's still, I would definitely use the word high end on the adequate scale. Were there an adequate scale? Yeah.
Whatever that scale might be.
Okay, so unfortunately I have 5 more minutes. I guess one thing I could say is, although I think I was doing most of the talking on the previous ones, I think it's normal for us. But as I mentioned, I'll be taking the camera, the microphone, the light with me. I was going to take my little waterproof camera. I call it a No Pro because it's a knockoff GoPro. It was about $60, $50, whatever, on Amazon. Bought it a couple years ago, mainly so the kids can have something to take in the pool with them. They like it when they go to the beach, but for some reason now when they go to the pool, they don't ever take it with them. So now I have it and it just sits there. I was going to bring that, but it's going to be too cold. I don't think we're going to do anything with water or anything underwater. We go on a cruise or something, snorkeling, I'll take it with me. But so pretty much when it comes to my nerd tech, it's that, my iPad, my phone. I still haven't decided if I'm taking my laptop. I probably won't. There's some things that I need to do, on a personal level every month, and for some volunteer stuff, that I do, but that can wait. I'll be back within enough time to get that taken care of. So I probably won't take that either. It'll just be, my bag will have this and one of those, you compress them down raincoats. That's it. Gonna go light. And of course, 6,000 chargers, because everything here takes a different battery or charger of some kind. Although I'm going to look into this, it'll work on your camera too. With that fake battery DC charger thing, I think you said you bought one for yours.
You're talking about the camera battery replacement for the Canon?
Yeah, well, not
power.
The one that goes to your wall. Exactly. Yeah. So there's with a couple extra couplers, you can actually plug that into like one of those portable battery banks and then charge, or not really even charge, but use that as your camera battery. So this camera battery is like 1,500 milliamps or milliwatt milliamps. I think it's milliamps. Whereas my portable one is 20,000 milliamps. So
Yeah, but your output would have to be from USB. Would you get enough through a USB?
yeah, that's one of these little adapters that you'd have to buy. It amps it from like 2 amps or from 1.5 amps to 4 amps or something like that. But I'll send you a link later on. One of those other podcasts that I watched, the 2-Bit Da Vinci's, as well as the DSLR Shooter, I think is his channel. They give a couple ways to do it. Some are more elegant than others, and I would definitely be looking for a more elegant solution. I have yet to need a battery to last 47 hours. So, but that's my deal now. So in your case, what is it that you plan on doing for your little setup there?
Well, I don't know yet. I have normally Thursdays is when I have any amount of time, and that's not usually a lot of time because the volunteer stuff that you do, something similar on my side. Sunday through Wednesday is that time frame where it is pretty well consumed with kids stuff. They have school stuff that I help with, and then the other things. And then in short windows, because I get up early, I go to bed early like an old person. And I'm talking like 9 o'clock. So
that's embarrassing.
That really shortens up the time frame that I have to do much. So Thursdays have been the days, or Fridays after we do this recording. The idea long term is basically like these lights right now are on the tripods. I keep saying tripods, on the stands for those big old speakers I was talking about, those PA speakers, and they're just used some zip ties basically to hold them in place. I'd like to get a bar of some sort put up where they are almost there. They're not really there just hanging out all the time, but all I have to do is set the bar in place. Because I have a shelving unit over here, and I can put something on this side if need be. Uh-oh. There you go.
I think we lost him.
Yeah,
the joys of over there? FaceTime on a bad connection. I've got a good connection. He does not have a good connection.
I hear you. I hear you. Do you hear me?
So we're still trying to reconnect.
I do hear you.
There he is. There he is.
Hey,
okay, I was narrating just in case.
I was just repeating the words, I do hear you. So had you said something about me, I would have heard.
I will never say anything negative about you while being recorded.
Anyway, so that's the lights things. The camera, the same thing. The camera is probably the biggest pain because I can take the lights where they are and just kind of set them kind of in this desk area. But the camera is on a tripod. I don't have to change that word this time. It is a tripod.
Yeah.
And I really leave it there unless my wife or I want to actually use it for photography. But I have this lav mic plugged into the side. I have the cable, the USB cable that's running to the computer. And then on the other side, like you mentioned, the battery replacement, the wire that runs into the wall. So that's got 3 wires hanging off of it. I don't leave those on there just in case a kid hits it with an elbow or something.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that I don't want the camera to fall. I also don't want one of these cables to break off inside. So I pretty well remove it from the area and I have to put it up. So when I get home, we try to record this about the time I hit the door. And it's it's not like it's a half-hour setup, but I'd rather get it to. I can set it in place, flip the switch, and we're good to go. Even maybe plugging these lights into a power strip. Well, all I have to do is turn on the power strip, and I keep looking at the lights. So your face right now is a glowing yellow sphere because I have burnt that part of my retina. Yeah. Good.
That's funny.
So that's long term, and I'll be playing with it to see what I do. Worst comes to worst, right? The light issue and the shadows, that's the first thing that I'm going to try to.
Yeah, the more you wave your hands, the more maddening it is. Yeah.
Yeah, for you, I don't really see it. It looks fine to me.
Yeah. Well, now you have 2 weeks. 2 weeks to play with it. Go out and buy a mannequin, put it in your seat, and then stand back and see what it looks like. Because that is one of the many hard things of being the one-man show is you have to set something up, kind of get everything in place, record something, take it off, take out the card, look at it. Okay, here's what I need to change. And there's sometimes where I forget that, the image on the camera is flipped. So I move the wrong thing because my brain is on the wrong side and I get it all done. And sometimes I have to, even here during my job, I have to get some things set up for a recording and I'll do the same thing. I'll use like myself as a stand-in. I'll take one of these mic stands and I'll just simply duct tape or gaffer tape some cardboard to it. I'll draw a little smiley face on it, and then that'll be what I focus on. That'll be the stand-in for the person. But even then, sometimes reverse-wise, I have to kind of stand in frame and like wave. Where am I seeing this shadow? Okay, this shadow comes from there, this shadow. Because again, it's reversed when you see it on the other side. So it gets confusing. So by having, one of your kids or something sitting in your seat, roughly in the same framing, that might help. But I don't know. But you have 2 weeks. You can play with it. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. The lighting wasn't really terrible last time. When that one monitor would go off, that would probably be the most obvious thing that you'd see. You can always adjust the gain of brightness, ISO or whatever on your camera. That'll make it more sensitive. It'll also make it more grainy, but
yeah, that's one other thing that I was playing with. I played with that a little bit yesterday because I watched a video on the manual settings. Like right now, the camera is in manual mode, and that was the only way I could adjust the audio volume.
Right.
And I took it down, and apparently it's still too hot. Next week I'll have to take it down even further.
Did you go down as far as I suggested? All the way down +4?
I did on the camera, but when you plug it into the computer, it resets. So I didn't take it all the way down, but I did take it down far enough when I was just talking. But apparently when I get into this situation, I talk a little louder.
Maybe.
Yeah, I should probably include talk a little louder and maybe don't mumble. How about that? Anyway, we have something to work on. But I've completely forgotten what was I saying?
Not sure. You kind of went back and forth 3 or 4 times. You're talking about making this picture brighter, manual mode versus.
Oh yeah. Because you mentioned ISO. So on the video that I was watching, they said that they like to keep it at 100 for ISO.
Yeah.
But when I had it at 100, even with these lights, because right now in this room, the door is shut. There's only 3 lights on. These 2 lights that I showed you in the box, and then this light up top.
Yeah.
And this seems fine. But at 100 ISO, this is auto ISO, but if I flip it to manual, it's like it has to be at 1600.
Wow. Okay.
Otherwise, it's too dark.
That's
I'm just like, with this much light, that just doesn't seem right. I don't
it's
know
your
what
lens.
that is. Yeah, that's what I figured. There was something that I needed to learn that I don't know enough about. Probably, like you mentioned, lens. I don't know if the 50 would gather more light or if I just need to open something else up. But
yeah, your 50, I don't know. There's 3 versions of the Canon 50 millimeter, and you, depending on what you paid, you either have the 2.1 or the 1.8 or the 1.2. The 1.2 is something like $2,000. So I'm going to guess you don't have that one.
You would be correct.
The 1.8, that one is about $300. And then the $100 Nifty 50 is, I think that's the 2.1 or something like that.
Yeah, I've got the Best Buy special. Say those numbers again.
It'll be like F 2.0.
1.18.
1.8, okay. 1.8?
Yeah, 1.8 STM.
Okay, good. So that is your aperture. So if you put that on, that will give you, that lets more light in. Also, that's how you get the shallow depth of field where, your eyes are out of focus, or you're in focus and your ears are out of focus type thing. You trying to show the camera?
Yeah, well, I had it up there, but it wasn't focusing, so I had to get it focused.
You had to wait, yeah.
There we go.
But that will allow you to bring down the ISO, but honestly, probably not that far. You might only be able to go to 400 or 800. I don't remember what I'm shooting at, to be honest with you, but I've got a pretty big light plus this little tiny guy really for fill over here. And that might also help is, I don't know if you have umbrellas, like a shoot through umbrella or anything between the light source that diffuses it, but it also kind of can make it a little brighter if the light is bright enough, and depending on the type of fabric that the umbrella is, that will dissipate the light so it's not so harsh, but at the same time make the whole scene brighter. Thus, you can use a better ISO. Honestly, every time I see the videos, if all the other ones were 1600 ISO, they were bright enough. We can adjust a few things in Premiere, and it looks just fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. One thing you do have to worry about in your case if you shoot with the nifty 50 and you shoot at 1.8, it's only going to give you about 6 inches or so, depending on how far away you are, of range to be in focus. So if you lean forward or if you lean back, you're going to be out of focus that fast. Whereas these other lenses, you probably have a good 3 feet, 2 feet, 4 feet of the focus range because of the 3.5 to 5.6 or whatever the aperture is for that lens, your kit lens. But yeah, that is the fun bit for me. I pretend to know all this stuff, and then I get in a room where I need to take a picture of somebody or a video, and my brain goes, what? And I have to kind of start all over. And I always try to start lower ISOs, faster shutter speeds, but then the shutter speed needs to be kind of in line with the frame rate so that you don't have this weird stutter stepping, but all that craziness. We'll get it eventually. I'll get it eventually. And then lenses are huge. You got the nifty 50. That's already 3 or 4 times better quality than the kit lens you're using. So you will see a good improvement there.
But even it seemed for my eye and for YouTube's compression, the video quality really looked well enough. I didn't look at it on the television.
Yeah.
But looking at it on my phone, it looked pretty good. I didn't comparison side by side, literally your video and mine that's merged into the same video. I didn't see much difference. Besides yours, probably a little brighter, probably, but mine was in auto all 3 times. This is the only time it's been in manual, and we'll see what it looks like. The test I did yesterday was in manual. That's up on YouTube. I don't know if I'll leave it up there or make it public. It is private right now, but if you feel like listening to it, I just wanted to throw it up there. It's not run through Handbrake. It's just iMovie, because there's 2 videos and I put them together using iMovie on this computer. This is the one that's got Premiere. Granted, it's older than my child.
Yeah, it gets compressed via YouTube standards anyways, so that doesn't really matter. As long as it was successfully uploaded, that's the key. I did play it. I did watch them on my 24-inch at work, and I have not watched it on my 43-inch over here, which I will one of these days when I clean up the desk and get everything situated. But yeah, it looks fine. So if it's on somebody's TV and they're watching it from 10, 15 feet, it'll look just the same. So I think it's fine. But on that note, now we both have some things to do. I got to work on my to-go kit. I've got to go to my meeting, which I'm nice and late for now. But we got almost 30 minutes out of it. That's not bad. And, we'll probably chop the first couple and maybe get it down to 25 minutes or so. But I leave on Monday, but we'll, of course, be cleaning and packing this weekend. So do what you normally do. The faster that you can get it to me, the better. What worked last time was iCloud Drive, or the sharing through the Files app. So why don't you try that again? That seemed to be the fastest.
That worked well enough for you?
It seemed to be pretty good. Yeah, it worked pretty good.
All right.
So do that, and then as soon as I get it, if you have time to play with the audio, do. If you don't, then don't worry about it. Just send me what you have, and then I'll work with what I can. Sound good?
Well, I was going to say that the fastest thing I could do is I could take this video straight from the camera right now. Once we hit stop, compress it on Handbrake if you want, and toss it up. And that would be, you'd still have to mess with the audio. Because if I mess with the audio, I did make a recording of the computer sound, because that's what that hum and hiss comes from now, that I realized. Yeah. But I took a video of it, not pointing at the camera at the computer, obviously, but just to get the audio from it. I pulled the audio out of that. But I haven't done anything else with it. That would take me a little bit longer because I'd have to get familiar with the settings. Because just noise reduction itself didn't do it. I'd have to go in and then what's the sample or whatever, get the sample, and just play with it from there and how much to take out. And the fastest would be to not mess with it and you mess with the audio. At least this go round, and I'll go from there. Okay.
My battery died here, so that might be a hint that I need to go. So
I've got less than a minute anyway before this thing stops.
Oh, that's true. Okay, go ahead. Just take it straight out of the camera, compress it in Handbrake, and upload it. Shoot me an email when you think it's done or ready, and then we'll go from there. Is that all right?
All right.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
Ciao.
Take care.